Honestly, I came out here to try and make friends today.
Hello everyone, I'm Coach Mike Doretto with Infinite Man, the social freedom experts. It's still true that most of the questions we answer still have to do with dating the opposite sex. And that makes sense because it's one of the places where we feel the most insecure and unable to express ourselves. But one of the things I like to tell the students all the time is not to overcomplicate this stuff. We're not teaching you game or any set of special rules that you need to speak to a specific member of the opposite gender.
You say you can't talk to women, but you've been talking to me.
We're teaching you how to make friends. And when you're making friends, it's the same concepts no matter who you're talking to for whatever reason. We're looking for a compatible connection, and that's the same whether we're talking to a man or a woman for a date or just to make a friend. Exactly how you look for that connection is the topic of today's video.
What would you talk about with guys you don't know? I actually know what I would talk about with women because I'm just interested in them, but it's different with guys. I would go up and not really know what I'm interested in them.
So notice how the student here is assuming that there has to be a different purpose for talking to a man versus talking to a woman. He thinks it's easier to talk to a woman because he knows that there's always physical attraction. They don't even need to have anything else in common as long as she thinks he's as attractive as he thinks she is. But he already knows you don't have that when you're talking to somebody that you're not planning on being attracted to. In that situation, it's true that you definitely need to have something in common, or else you don't really have a reason to hang out with each other again. Of course, it's important to have plenty in common with the people you want to get physical with as well. So the student is getting stuck on this, but as you'll see, it's not really a problem when you know what to talk about. After we talk about what you should specifically say to a person, we then talk about the next steps of how you keep in touch, especially if you don't live close to each other, you got some long distance. So what are you interested in? What is something that you study or spend time with or do in your free time? Psychology, perfect. You go up to people and you start talking about psychology.
Okay, or martial arts and
Or
stuff
martial
like
arts.
that.
Anything you're interested in. You walk up to people, you say, hey, what's up? What are you guys already talking about, right? If they're already talking about a topic that you can chime in with, pick up the conversation that they're already having. If not, if they say, oh, we weren't really talking about anything, you can be like, oh, cool, well, I'm super interested in psychology and in martial arts. Anyone interested in either of those things?
I recognize that. That is Japanese for California roll.
No, it's not.
I think it is. A guy told me about that.
Actually, it's a symbol for eternal discipline.
Pretty self-explanatory, right? You just walk on up, introduce yourself, start talking about the things you want to talk about, and compatible people will stick around or not ask you to leave.
Sounds interesting.
Right? Like if you walk up to me at a party, you know, let's imagine it's some house party. We're all standing around, but it's big enough that people don't necessarily know everybody else. You walk up to me at a party, I got a drink in my hand, you got a drink or something, you're like, hey, how's it going? Stranger, I'm looking to make a new friend. I'll be like, cool, man, how's it going? What's up with you, man? I say this to people all the time. Humans don't really need segues. We don't really need transitions between topics. You can walk up to somebody and it's already included in the awkwardness of the initial approach that whatever you bring up might be abrupt and might be out of the blue, out of nowhere, right? People are already assuming this. People are already expecting this. So you don't have to walk up to somebody and give a full explanation of why you want to talk about the thing you want to talk about. Just start fucking talking about it. And if the person resonates with it and isn't getting bored by the things that you're saying, well then great. You found somebody to have a nice conversation with. And if you start to see that maybe they aren't that interested, you can play Captain Obvious and you can say, hey, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but the look on your face makes me think that maybe you're not so interested in this topic. Do you want to change topics? What's something that you're passionate about? If you were going to make a new friend or meet somebody to date, where would you go to find that person?
Outside.
Parties.
I would go to
places.
parties.
Yeah. I would go to a party or a bar.
Places.
And if you go to a party, are you hoping to meet a friend of a friend, or are you hoping to meet like a brand new person?
Usually it ends up being friend of the friend, but I'm not opposed to brand new.
Brand new person.
Yeah. You don't want the social circle connection?
No, I'm always trying to meet like completely new people.
I actually had one conversation with a guy at this gathering spot there, and we were like just getting into the topic of how hard it is to pick up women at a social event if you didn't do it before. And it was a really awesome conversation.
And you were
And
like, you should
kind of-
check out the Infinite Man Summit. You should sign up for their online community.
Maybe I should have said that.
You should. We do referral bonuses.
Oh, really? The fact that I had someone that I did socialize with made me like approach the two hottest girls at the gathering, which no one before did approach.
Nice.
and it didn't feel weird at all. So
There you go. I tell you guys all the time, this is just making friends, and making friends is simple. You already know how to do it, but you've been convinced by society or programming or bad experiences that you don't know what you're doing. You do. It's as simple as walk up to another human being, start talking, and if that person continues to talk to you and doesn't punch you in the face, then you've just made a new friend. It's literally that simple. Now, to the degree of the friendship is, that's a different matter. That takes time and trust and shared experiences and all that other kind of shit. But as far as starting a new friendship, introducing yourself, it's literally that easy. Walk on up, start talking, and if the person is not displeased with what you're saying, you might have a new friend.
how would you do the next steps of a friendship if you don't live that close? Like, I'm living like 100 kilometers away, so I cannot invite them to my home so easily. So what would be the next steps for making friends in a foreign city?
You just keep in touch online is all. Let's think realistically about this. You're at some party, you meet a guy from another country, and he seems nice, and you have a good chat with him, and you say, hey, we should keep in touch. Okay, so far, no reason to hang out with that guy again. You had one good conversation. If you want to keep in touch on Facebook or text each other. If you want to call the guy, fucking call the guy. Not hard.
Mm-hmm.
If you meet somebody and you're like, oh my God, you're my new best fucking friend in the world, you and I have to hang out all the time, well, then you'll make it happen, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with women. Not every woman is worth being in a long distance relationship with. Some women are. It's the same thing with any type of friendship. Some people are worth the effort to drive 3 hours to hang out with them or catch a flight and go to the other side of the fucking world to hang out, and others are not.
It's just hard for me to think that someone might just be interested because of one conversation, but it's like I'm interested in people because of just how they appear to me on first sight all the time. Or if I have a good conversation with them, I'm just like, oh fuck, how do I get to meet them more often, but I never make it happen, or they don't make it happen, whatever. It's like a negative belief in my head, and it's very present if I'm at social events.
And you should be not letting a single opportunity go by where you don't question that thought.
Mm-hmm.
You should be constantly challenging that negative belief, constantly. That's the only way you're going to get rid of it. You have to give yourself an opportunity to have a different experience. Now, have you ever been in a situation where you're out at an event somewhere and you're hitting it off with somebody and you're talking for a while and you trade contact info and think to yourself, great, I made a new friend, but then you never hear from that person again, so you assume that maybe you didn't actually make a new friend, maybe they were just being polite, and you get all paranoid about did they actually like me or not? Well, here's what I have to say about that. Now, also, if you want to be friends with somebody, then make the effort to be their friend. Do not assume that other people are going to match your efforts, that there's going to be some sort of equality. That's just not usually how things go. I am still like the #1 planner of any group event that I'm trying to do with my friends. I'm the main organizer. At the same time, I'm very rarely the guy that reaches out just to check in and say hi. I'm the guy that's going to reach out and say, hey, here's the New Year's Eve plan, and let's get all the people together and blah, 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 blah. It's not likely that you're going to get a call from me randomly. Hey, Bobby, how's it going? I just wanted to catch up. Doesn't mean that I'm any less friends with them or that I consider them to have less of a value to me. But if they want to talk to me more, then they just have to call me, right? So don't go, oh, okay, every time I hang out with this guy, we have a lot of fun, and he says that he enjoys hanging out with me and he wants to hang out with me again, but he never calls me to make plans. He must not really like me. No, that's not accurate math, right? That's not the proper description. Now, if you try to hang out with a guy and the person makes it really difficult to hang out with them, or is constantly saying no thank you, or oh I can't then, over and over and over again, well then yeah, that's probably a sign that he doesn't actually want to be friends, or at the very least doesn't want to hang out. Basically, the advice I'm giving is don't read into that kind of stuff. If when you're with the person, everything is going great, but they never reach out to initiate plans, well, when it comes to regular platonic friendships, that's fine. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's an issue if you're trying to build a romantic relationship. If you're trying to build a romantic relationship and that woman is never initiating conversations or hangouts or things like that, then no, she's probably not interested in you romantically.
Mm-hmm. So it's just like getting over there, talking about something I'm interested in, or if I'm interested in their topic, just contribute to the conversation, and after some time, or if the event is over, I'm just like, oh hey, you guys seem nice, would you want to stay in contact and exchange Facebook or numbers or whatever?
Mm-hmm. It's It's exactly that. Now that was an excellent summary from the student, and you can tell that he's really getting it. We end today's video with a story from my life where I put this stuff into practice, as well as what I think the truth of the real purpose behind bars and clubs is. It might be a controversial opinion, so let me know what you think about it in the comments. And of course, don't forget to do all the YouTube stuff that helps us out. Like, share, subscribe, comment below, tell your friends, show your mom, whatever.
Okay, I'm gonna try it out.
If you're trying to go to an event, like at a club or a bar. Now, remember, bars and clubs are not necessarily the greatest places for making friends. They're not there. It's a lie that they're there for you to socialize with new people. Where would you guys go to make a new friend or to meet a potential dating partner?
Dog park. Like you get a dog.
That's a great one.
If you saw someone had a really cute dog, that's like a conversation starter.
I guess like campus events.
Clubs.
Yeah?
Yeah, maybe just there.
Do you enjoy clubs?
That'd be pretty fun. I mean, I'm sure music's hella loud, but I'm sure there's opportunities to like talk to people. Bar.
So you would go to a bar. Do you think that's like an ideal place to meet someone?
There's a lot of people there. That's
not what they're there for. They're only there to sell you drinks. That's their number one purpose. Everything else is just a distraction or to help sell more drinks. So what are bars and clubs really for? They're for going someplace with your own group of friends to party where you don't have to clean up after yourselves. That's what bars and clubs are for. You want to go dance somewhere without ruining your house? You go to a club. You want to go drink somewhere without ruining your house? You go to a bar. You don't go to those places to meet brand new people and make friends. Is it possible to do? Absolutely, it's possible. Is it efficient? No, not at all. It's incredibly fucking frustrating. So if you are going to go to a bar or club to try to meet new people, go early. Be one of the first people in the fucking door. And then do what I call, which is do what I do, which is called playing manager. You basically walk around the bar to everybody and you go, "Hey, how's it going? You having a nice night?" Because that's what managers do, you know? And a lot of times you can get right into a conversation with people. They might even assume you're a manager depending on how well you're dressed, right? Like if you're dressed really well, they might just assume you're the owner. And then you can have fun with how long it takes you to reveal the truth, right? One of my approaches this particular time in Toronto was I'd walk up to people and say, "Hey, you guys seem friendly. I'm Mike. I'm Mike from Boston. I'm looking to make friends." And they all looked at me and said, "Wait a minute. You can just do that?" And I said, "What, walk up and make friends with people? Is there a reason I shouldn't?" And they're like, no, we just didn't realize that was a possibility." So they were impressed, just like a lot of women are, with my direct approach. It garnered me some respect, and I had a good conversation, and I kept in touch with those people, and they even kept in touch with me. Like I never saw them again, but I remember one of them texted me like years later and said, "Hey, Mike, I remember we were talking about Las Vegas, and you said you had a lot of knowledge about Las Vegas. Would you mind sharing some of that info?" And I wrote her a big old email saying like, "Oh, try this and avoid that and whatever." And if I'm ever in Toronto again, I feel confident that as long as her contact info is still accurate, that she would reply in kind and tell me, "Oh, check out this club this weekend," or "This is happening," or something.
Yeah, thanks for the advice, Mike.
No
It's
problem.
a lot to try out this weekend.
Yeah. Remember, dude, it's a lot easier than you've been told or that you think. If you're looking at a situation and you're thinking like, what do I need to do? What blah, 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 blah. Do the most obvious fucking thing that you can think of, because that's probably correct.